The deaths of Juice WRLD, XXXTentacion, Pop Smoke, Tupac, and Michael Jackson remains a mystery so many don't know. We all believe they died at one incident or the other. XXXTentacion was murdered while getting a bike for himself outside in his car that shut him so badly, repeatedly, and made sure he was dead. Pop Smoke was shot and killed during a home invasion robbery in a rented mansion in Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles, and was later confirmed dead in the hospital. Juice WRLD and Michael Jackson has their own story on how they died too. Every one of them had the fame, the money, the world at their feet. But one by one, they vanished too soon. American stars die so soon. Why? Was this fate? Was it pressure? Or something far darker? From XXXTentacion at 20 to Tupac at 25, Juice WRLD, gone just before his career exploded, Pop Smoke, silenced when the world started to listen, and even Michael Jackson, the king himself, dead in mystery. Why do the brightest stars burn out the fastest? This isn't just coincidence. This is a pattern. Yes, a repeated pattern. Let's uncover the truth. XXXTentacion, real name, Jaza Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy. Born in Plantation, Florida, USA. Died at just 20 years old. At a young age, he had already become one of the most talked about artists in the world. But behind the music was a life full of chaos, controversy, and pain. He spoke openly about depression, death, and betrayal, almost like he knew something was coming. And on the 18th of June, 2018, it came. Shot in broad daylight while sitting in his car outside a motorcycle dealership in Deerfield Beach, Florida. The world was stunned. But was it really just a robbery? Just days before, he posted "If I die tragically, I hope I'm a good influence." Was it a warning? A farewell? A setup? His death wasn't just an attack. It was a signal that even at the top, you're never truly safe. Now, the mystery here, and the question yet to be answered is, why did he see death before it came? We'll discover before the video ends. The next person is Tupac, the prophet who predicted his own death. Real name, Tupac Amaru Shakur. Born in East Harlem, New York City, USA, raised in Baltimore, Maryland, and later Oakland, California. Killed at just 25 years old. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a revolutionary voice. A poet, an actor, a force. But Tupac wasn't afraid to speak truth to power. He challenged the system, the media, even his own label, and he knew it might cost him everything. Over and over, he warned the world. I feel like I'm being watched. They're going to silence me soon. Then, on the night of the 7th of September, 1996, after a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas, Tupac was gunned down in a drive-by shooting. 6 days later, he was dead. But the mystery only deepened. Why was his convoy left vulnerable? Why was no one ever truly held accountable? And why did Tupac himself speak so clearly about his own death? Some say it was East Coast versus West Coast. Others say the truth goes deeper. Something planned, something permanent. Why did he see death before it came? We'll discover soon. The next is Juice WRLD, real name, Gerard Anthony Higgins. Born in Chicago, Illinois, USA, died at just 21 years old. He wasn't just another rapper, he was a rising legend. With a voice that blended heartbreak and melody, he captured a generation lost in pain, pills, and pressure. His music told it all: addiction, anxiety, fear of dying young. And yet, he never stopped smiling in public, as if the spotlight could hide the storm inside. On the 8th of December, 2019, Juice WRLD landed in Chicago after a private flight from Los Angeles. Moments later, he collapsed from a seizure. Later, it was revealed he had swallowed multiple pills, possibly trying to hide them from authorities during a surprise airport search. But this wasn't random. It was the ending he had hinted at again and again. What's the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21. He knew. Somehow he knew. Definitely that he will die at 21. Why did no one listen? Why did the lyrics sound more like confessions than entertainment? Why did he see death before it came? We'll discover before the video ends. Pop Smoke, the star who shouted into the dark. Real name, Bashar Baraka Jackson. Born in Brooklyn, New York, USA. Murdered at just 20 years old. Pop Smoke wasn't just rising, he was exploding. In under 2 years, he had gone from Brooklyn blocks to Billboard charts. His voice was thunder. His presence, magnetic. But his climb was fast, almost too fast. And the more he rose, the more he seemed to look over his shoulder. He once rapped, "They see me in person, they panic. I'm a target. I know it." He knew the streets didn't care how famous you were. He knew he was gonna die any moment away. On the 19th of February, 2020, Pop Smoke was in a luxury rental home in the Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles. In the early hours of the morning, masked men broke in. He was shot dead during what was called a home invasion. But here's the chilling part. Just hours earlier, he had posted photos on Instagram accidentally revealing the home's address. Was it a mistake or a trap? His lyrics had always danced with danger, and many believe his death was a direct consequence of that digital slip. Still, one question echoes louder than the gunshots. Why did he see death before it came? We'll discover before the video ends. Michael Jackson, born in Gary, Indiana, USA, died at 50 years old. He was the only one who lived longer in the list, but in a normal sense, a person who has lived 50 years isn't accredited to die yet. He has to retire and enjoy old age prasters. Michael Jackson is the king of pop ever known, a global icon who changed music forever. His life was a roller coaster of fame, fortune, and controversy. For decades, Michael's health and state of mind were closely watched by millions. Rumors swirled around his addiction to painkillers and his mysterious doctor. On the 25th of June, 2009, Michael Jackson died suddenly in Los Angeles, California. The cause? Acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. His personal physician was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter for administering the drugs. But even with all the facts, questions remain. Why was the king dependent on such dangerous medicine? Why did those closest to him allow this to happen? The majority of this artist knew the will die, had nothing to do about their option was just to accept their fate, which was death. Now the question, why did they see death before it came? Here's the answer. It's not just bad luck. It's not just drugs or violence alone. It's a perfect storm, a deadly mix of fame, pressure, and the hidden costs of living in the spotlight. Stars like XXXTentacion, Juice, WRLD, Pop Smoke, and even Michael Jackson faced relentless pressure to stay on top while battling inner demons, mental health struggles hidden behind smiles and music, addictions and dangerous coping mechanisms born from trauma and stress. A world that watches but doesn't protect fans, media, and industry, pushing harder and harder. Warnings ignored, cryptic lyrics, signs of pain, calls for help left unanswered. They saw death before it came because their lives were a mirror of something deeper. A pattern of how fame can consume even the brightest soul. It's a warning to us all. Behind the glamour, the glitter, and the glory, there's a human story often left untold. Want to know the full truth behind these tragic losses? And the full footage of how they all died? Subscribe and stay tuned. The real story is about to be revealed.